The obvious place to start is with the four purposes. Now, as stated here, the four purposes are the shared vision, the starting point and aspiration for every child and young person in Wales. These are the attributes, abilities that we want our young people to exhibit when they leave school at the age of 16. As it says in the curriculum documentation, enabling learners to progress in relation to these purposes is intended to inform all decisions in relation to curriculum and assessment design and implementation. So this is a very different way of conceiving of curriculum, perhaps to the way that we've conceived of it in the past. So rather than using the starting point of the content or the objectives of the curriculum, we're thinking actually how can the curriculum support the fulfilment of the four purposes in our young people. In Successful Futures, Graham Donaldson provided a helpful definition in terms of what we mean by curriculums. If we look at the Oxford Dictionary example, it just simply states that the curriculum is the subjects comprising a course of study in a school or college. But actually, Graham Donaldson's definition in Successful Futures states that curriculum should be considered as all of the learning and assessment experiences and activities that are planned in meeting with the aim of meeting the defined purposes of education, the four purposes that were set out in Successful Futures. Thinking about this in terms of the design of the curriculum, Professor Mark Priestley from the University of Stirling provides this helpful analogy in which curriculum is seen as the umbrella and the four constituent elements that we need to consider in developing our curriculum are placed underneath. The arrows representing the fact that there is an interplay in terms of those different features. So in the first instance, if we start at the left-hand side of the diagram, we have the content. Within the Curriculum for Wales framework, there is less specification of content. Therefore, the choices that we make as teachers in terms of the examples that we are going to use to best exemplify the knowledge, skills and experiences that we want young people to have are going to be increasingly important. If you think about provision, and the example we can use here is timetabling, it might be that in some areas of learning, shorter bursts of learning are more appropriate in terms of what we know about learning, but in some areas it might be that there is a greater amount of time that's needed to further develop ideas, again based on the available evidence. So some thought to how we provide the most appropriate provision needs to be a guiding feature to our curriculum design. In terms of pedagogy, the Successful Futures set out the 12 pedagogical principles. These have been taken into the curriculum framework on the Curriculum for Wales guidance. So, to what extent do staff have a good understanding of those 12 pedagogical principles? Which pedagogy should we select to best elicit learning in different areas? Those are considerations that we need to develop. And also then closely linked to pedagogy is assessment, and that idea of, well, if the progression frameworks and the descriptions of learning are setting out the journey of the learner across the continuum, how do we best assess their progress along that continuum of learning, and how does that inform the design of our curriculum?